Welcome to the road to student success. Okay, within this Prezi, what I've done is I've tried to create a common list of characteristics that I've noticed in my students that have been highly successful. Not only have I observed these things, I've read and looked at research about these 7 characteristics that we are going to go through. Okay, so hopefully within this Prezi, you can grab at least 2 of these and try to implement them as you get ready for this upcoming school year. Okay, and now my wish is for you to grab all 7, but realistically, if you grab 2, okay, if you focus on 2 right now, you'll see your turnaround of becoming a better student happen. Okay. So as we get into it, we're just going to ask that question: what makes a student successful? All right. Again, this isn't just the complete list of concrete things that you got to do this to become a successful student, but these are some of the most highly rated and respected things of a successful student. Okay. And again, we're going to go through each one of these on their each individual slide. Okay. So stick with us. Get ready to learn something. Get ready to take this in. All right. So one thing that a successful student displays, okay, is the willingness to learn. All right. The other thing is they are very organized. Okay. They also know their learning style. They ask questions. They know their resources and how to use them. They're punctual. Okay. And they know how to actively listen. And again, we're going to go through all 7 of these characteristics individually. Okay. So the first one that we're going to look at is the willingness to learn. Am I willing to learn is the question that you have to ask yourself now. Okay. Now, within this whole concept of learning, there's one thing that you can always count on that you have complete control of, okay? That one thing that you have control of is your attitude, okay? Your attitude is the single most factor you can control. No matter what's going on around you, no matter what's happened to you, okay? You can't always control the things that happen to you, but you can always control on how you react, all right? So for you to become a successful student, you have to shift your attitude in order for you to become a person that's willing to learn. All right. You're sitting there, you're ready to come in and you're ready to go. Okay. The next thing is great students enter learning environments with the expectation to learn something. They expect to learn something. They don't just go to their 3rd period class just because that's what they're supposed to do. Or they don't just go to their 11 o'clock class because that's what's on their schedule. Okay, that may be the case, but they're also going there with an expectation that they're going to take something out of their classroom to benefit them, to make them a better student in whatever subject area that is. Okay. Also, learning means admitting to being wrong while being ready to correct it. All right, by this I mean so many times you get a paper back that's graded, okay? You see the grade and you move on with it. Or if you don't like the grade, you don't agree with it, you just throw the paper to the side. We have to get out of that mindset and get into a mindset of correcting, all right? I made an 85. Why didn't I make 100? Okay, I missed one problem. I'm glad about my 85, but I'm not just going to throw that away and not look at it. I'm going to ask the teacher, all right, which we're going to get into the asking in a minute. But we're going to ask the teacher to find out what are the ways that I can correct this. What do I need to do? Where did I go wrong within this problem? All right. Okay. So the next thing, all right, you have to go to are what are the learning styles? All right. Dictionary.com define learning styles as is an individual's unique approach to learning based on strengths, weaknesses, and preferences. Okay. In this slideshow, we have about 4 different learning styles. All right. The 4 that we have is not the most complete list of them. There are tons of research that suggests more than these 4, but these 4 are solid and have been solidified since their beginning. Okay, so this is a very well respected 4 list of learning styles. Okay, and the other ones just throw a few more ones in, but all of them encase these 4 for sure. Okay, so the first one is a visual learner. Okay, if you're a visual learner, that means you are a person that prefers to view images of what is being taught. Okay, the use of graphs, organizers, and charts tremendously help this type of learner. All right, so these are the people that like to draw out what they're doing. They don't mind creating T-charts or flow charts or Venn diagrams or whatever it is that they can actually draw and write down to look at. Okay, when people mention they having picture memory, these visual learners are the people that pop up. Okay, because they like to look at things, get that image in their head, store it, and use it and regurgitate it when it's time for them to answer a test. So if you are a person that likes to use charts, graphs, organizers, those type of things, then you may be a visual learner. Okay. The other type is an auditory learner. Okay, they have an ear for listening to new information and retaining it. Typically, auditory learners like to listen and speak on new information. When studying, they tend to repeatedly speak the information out loud. Okay, so these are the people that can really just sit in the classroom and just take in everything that they're listening to. All right, these people like to listen to music, or they create some type of patterns within their head of sounds, okay, and that helps them, okay, that helps them retain and use that information again when it's needed, okay. So if you're that type of person, then you're going to be considered what is called an auditory learner, okay. The other two, all right, we have what's called a read and write learner. All right, these learners prefer to read their information and love to take notes. All right, having a handout or the ability to write down information helps them retain the lesson. Okay, these people can sit there and write down everything in the book. These people typically are color coders. They like to highlight, they like to underline, they like to do those type of things. That also intertwines with you being a visual learner. Okay, those two kind of can work hand in hand together there. All right, but read and write, people read, they love to read out loud. If they can read in front of the class, they will, or they're at home, they can just open their book, read and understand it. Okay, other people can write, and they end up understanding it as well. Okay, when you do write, you are computing it twice in your head. All right, because you have to write it, so your brain is processing what you're writing, and while you're writing, you're also reading. Okay, so you have two chances to input that information into your brain. Okay, the other type of learning style is called kinesthetic learner. Okay, they prefer to be hands-on. They learn by being physical with the material. Okay, acting out, building, or creating is the preferred style of learning. These people love to be up and active in a classroom. Okay, anytime there are labs or some things that you get to travel around classroom, this is when they are fully engaged, or you would be fully engaged and you are taking in the lesson. Okay, if you are a kinesthetic learner, then you have to find ways for you to manipulate what it is that you're looking at. In math class, if you're not understanding a problem, then you need to find a way to bring that problem, or you and the teacher help bring that problem to real life so that you can actually put your hands on it and use it. And no matter if this is science too, you can go outside in nature or whatever the topic is that you're doing, you need to find a way to be hands-on with it. Okay, it's very important that you know your learning styles, because that's going to help you study. That's going to help you hone in on the things that you're good at, and you'll know what you're not so accustomed to liking, and you can also work on those things. Just because you may be only one of them, that doesn't mean you can't learn in the other four learning styles. Okay, all right, the next thing is the organization. Okay, being an organized student allows you to know where everything is when you need it. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've seen students have to turn in something or have to find something in their notes, but they can't find it because their backpack is junky, their notebook is junky, loose papers everywhere, and it's just mass chaos for them. That's going to set you back, okay? No loose papers, guys. If you have a divider, then you need to be able to put things in that divider or in the corner pocket of your notebook. You can staple, you can hole punch, and put it in your loops, okay? Whatever it is that you need to do, it needs to be done. But loose papers are a no. Don't just stuff them in your book. Don't do that. Don't just stuff them in the bottom of your backpack or your locker, okay? You need to clean your backpack and your locker often. All right, sometimes it may start to get a little cluttered with some older papers. Ask your teacher, do you still need those? If they say yes, then you need to file them correctly. If not, okay, then you need to dispose of them. But that backpack and your locker needs to be cleaned often. That way you can find something when you need it. There's nothing more better for you to be able to find some notes when your teacher say, oh, you can use your notes on the quiz or anything. You need to study and you can't find the system because you don't know where the system is. Okay. Each subject needs its own area. All right. So you can't have a folder and on one side of the folder in one pocket you have math and science things in it. The other side you have social studies. You may have literature in there. Okay. You're going to start to get things confused. You're not going to really know where you're setting things. So if you can have a designated place where each of your subjects can be found, and that's going to help you. I promise there's no way around it. It is going to help you tremendously. Okay, being organized, guys, is a key attribute. It's very key. Okay, you can even have dividers. We just said that, but use different color spirals. All right, designate your science spiral to be orange or blue or whatever color, and you do the same thing for each subject that you do have. Okay. The use of a planner or a calendar to keep up with due dates is, man, that's big. Okay, that's very big for you. That planner or that calendar, you know exactly what to be expecting. You know what's coming up. You know when it's due. You know how long you have to do it. Okay, you need to, you really need to work on using a planner or a calendar. I myself didn't start using one until I got to college, and I saw the difference. I saw how more aware I was of upcoming due dates, and things didn't creep up on me, and I was prepared for them. Okay, so be an organized person. All right, the next two are on the same slide. Okay, we're going to talk about asking questions. If you are confused about something, then you need to ask the question. There should be no doubt in your mind that you should ask a question if you don't understand it. You cannot worry about what other students are going to say, the jokes, the laugh. That doesn't matter. You are in control of your education at that point. If you don't understand something, you have to verbalize it. If you don't verbalize it, then write it down. You're scared to write it down, then type it out and email it. Whatever form of communication that you prefer, it still needs to be communicated to the teacher. All right. The only way a teacher can help you is if you let them know what you need help with. Okay. Teachers, we like to think we're mind readers. Okay. But we can't. We can't really just read your mind and say you don't understand. We can't look at your face. Sometimes we can, but sometimes we can't. But we can avoid all that by you telling us what it is that you need help with. And again, do not be afraid. Studies show that in your parameter, okay, somebody to your left, right, in front of you, or behind you, 9 times out of 10 has the same question, but they are afraid to ask as well. Okay, so your question could really benefit somebody else in the class, or actually the whole class. So don't hold back on that. Ask those questions. Be a better student right there. Okay. This other part is being punctual. All right. Being punctual means being on time with everything you do, not barely strolling in 10 seconds after the bell rings, or everybody has turned in their homework and now you're ready to go turn in your homework. If it's due at this point in time, then do it. Okay. This next statement: teachers are much willing to help those who show effort, and the easiest way to display effort is to show up or turn things in on time. I promise you, you being punctual lets that teacher know you're attentive and you're serious about it. Okay. If you're serious about it, then people are much more willing to help you. Okay. So be punctual, be on time, turn that homework in on time. Using that planner or that calendar will definitely help you become a punctual person. Right. Get to class on time, be seated, be ready, materials out, turn your homework in on time. Don't try to be late and come up with 10,000 excuses. Do what you're supposed to do in a timely fashion. Okay. This next thing is very critical as well. Knowing your resources. Okay. Successful students know how to utilize resources to assist them with work. Okay. Knowing how to locate things in your book. All right. So say you have an assignment and you at home and you can't quite remember exactly what the teacher said about it, or you didn't take good notes on it that day. You should be able to turn to your appendix and find what it is that you're looking for, or your index. You go to your index and look for your keyword, and it'll tell you what page that topic is usually discussed on. By you finding that, all right, you go to the chapter and the page, and now you have examples, you have reading paragraphs to go back and review. Okay, that's using your resources. That's knowing how to help yourself become a better student. All right, knowing how to search the internet correctly. All right, that's big. Correctly, not just know how to search the internet. Know what you're looking for. Know what websites are good websites versus websites that are bad. Some that are just made up. Okay, don't always click the first tab that you see in your search bar after you looked up something. That's not always going to be correct. Okay, YouTube can be your best friend. It's almost everything under the sun is on YouTube. If you don't know how to do something, you can almost bet your bottom dollar that if you go on YouTube and look for it, somebody is showing you how to do it. There's a how-to video for it. So if you can't have access to your teacher, or your book or whatever the case may be, YouTube is still there to try to help you. Okay. It also goes with knowing what websites to use for studying. There are tons of educational websites out there. Tons of free educational websites, might I add to that. All right, so you have to take the time and go and find them. If you can't find them, I mean, I'm pretty sure your teacher knows some of them for you to go and look and review and assist your own learning with. Okay, so that's using the internet correctly. All right, you need to form study groups with those who are willing to learn. Okay, if you have what's called peer-to-peer learning, then your chances of retaining information goes way up. Peer-to-peer learning is you and a friend or somebody that's close to your age or in your little social circle, okay? Because peer-to-peer learning, you typically learn better from somebody that can explain it in terms that you know, okay? You guys can use examples of your everyday life to get information across, okay? So find you some people that are trying to learn, that want to learn, and you guys form a study group, okay? Know other teachers that may can help you, all right? Just because your teacher isn't there that day or your teacher explains it one way, that doesn't mean that's the only way ever, all right? If your teacher isn't there and your substitute is there and they don't know, then you need to know another teacher in whatever subject it is that teaches that. Maybe they can help you, and maybe they can explain it in a different way where you grasp that concept and you use it, okay? So definitely know other teachers that can help you, all right? Ask the librarian for assistance. That's the biggest person to know when it comes down to looking for stuff academically. The librarian has a host of information that they are just willing to give to you if you ask for that assistance. Okay, I promise you, they will go on all type of websites and show you all type of tricks and tools that assist you in your learning. Okay, do not be afraid of the librarian. All right, and lastly, always know your principal, as they can point you in the right direction. Okay, if your last option is your principal, then I can almost guarantee your principal knows somebody that can answer your question if they are not able to answer your question. Okay, get to know your principal and don't be afraid to ask them something. Okay, actively listening. Okay, while sitting in the classroom, you must be able to focus in on what the teacher is saying. Okay, you must be able to focus in on what they're saying. Okay, we're going to talk about what this active part is. Okay, actively listening requires you to think about what you are hearing. All right, you have to actually think about and start to process the things that the teacher is saying. Okay, you just can't hear them. You can't just hear words. You have to listen to the words and start to process and diagnose those words. Okay, digest those words, take them in. All right, and find a way that you can use it. As you take in the information, begin to try and understand the lecture. All right, that's going to boost you so much with you actively listening. Okay, you don't have time for the distractions. Okay, you don't have time for that. You need to start to try to digest what they're saying. Go over it, repeat it. Make sure you're understanding you're listening to what they're saying. Okay, it's a difference between hearing and listening. Okay, listening is an aggressive action, like you're forcing yourself to listen. Okay, to be a great listener, you must force yourself to pay attention and try to process the information. You don't have time to deal with the distractions or somebody talking to you. You have to shut them off and shut them down. You don't have time for that. Okay, you got to avoid this daydreaming. If you feel yourself drifting off, you need to have a cue or something to bring yourself back and focus back in on what you're supposed to be doing. You cannot daydream. Actively listen, guys. It's an action. It's a verb. You got to do it. You can't just sit back and be passive and just hear. No, start to think about how you can listen. Okay, how do you listen? All right, and lastly, guys, you need to be you. All right, the most important tip to being a great student is your ability to be who you are. That's all you can be. You can't be anybody else. All right, if you're not the valedictorian, the so-called smartest person in class, then you just can't be who that person is. You have to be you. Focus on making yourself the best you that you can possibly be. Okay, when you start to face that man or woman in the mirror, all right, now you are changing your attitude, okay, to be a person that's understanding what they're doing wrong, okay, and ready to do it better. All right, you gotta learn how to take that criticism and grow from your downfalls. Okay, just because you made a 30 or a 20 or a 60, or you didn't make the grade that you wanted on the test, that doesn't have to be your final destination. Okay? Get up from that. Okay? It's okay to fall down. Just be sure not to lay down. All right? Once you lay down, you've been defeated. You can always get back up, guys. Don't take that shortcoming for the overall that's just describe who you are. That's not it. Okay? That's not it. All right. My quote in my classroom, okay, is college may not be for everybody, but success is. Okay. You hear that all the time. People saying college ain't for me. This ain't for me. School ain't for me. And I understand that. As a teacher, I understand that college may not be for everybody, but success is. Everybody can have success. And with you focusing in on these different things, you can be successful. With you focusing in on yourself, you can be successful. Okay. So take some of these things, guys, that I went over today and take them to your classroom and be prepared to be the best student that you can be this school year. I believe in you. You should believe in you. Okay. We, the world, we believe in you. Okay. And don't let nobody tell you different. You've reached your goal.